Hello, welcome to the worksheet, Graphing Lines Review worksheet. First thing I'd like you to do is to put your name on the worksheet. My name is key because this is an answer key. And what this is a basic review of graphing lines. The first thing that we do when we start like real Algebra 2 is we're going to graph parabolas. That's when we start using the book. We're going to graph parabolas, but a lot of the concepts of graphing a line can be applied to graphing a parabola. So this is the first time I've used a little projector thing like this to capture the movie so you can see my hands and stuff. Before I was doing this on the smartboard, but I thought I'd try it this way. Okay, I'm going to go through the left column of problems with you, and then you can do the right column of problems and turn it in on your own. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to graph y equals 1/2 x minus 2. So this comes from the form y equals mx plus b. And the number in front is the slope. That's how the line changes. And the number right here in the back is where you start. So that's the y-intercept. Okay, so we have the two pieces of information, this one and this one. And I'm going to get a highlighter out here so I can even highlight. Let's see, what would look good under the highlighting? Here's some yellow. Let's try this. All right, magical. So now I have access to that thing. So the slope is how the line changes, and b is where it starts on the y-axis. The x-axis, of course, is left and right, and the y-axis is up and down. So this one says that I'm going to start at -2, which means I'm going to go down 2 spots, 1, 2, and I'm going to follow a slope of 1/2. And I like to include a little Bruno Mars when I do slope. So the slope is 1/2, which is the rise over the run. Let's see, I need some space right here. I guess I can squeeze it in here. Rise over run is one way to say it. So I've heard slope is easy and fun. Just remember rise over run. So we're going to go up 1 and over 2. We're going to go up 1 and over 2 from this starting point. So the B is where we start, and the M is how we change. So we can do a little Bruno Mars and go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. I said up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. I said up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. Isn't that fun? Now lines are fun to graph. Now we can go the other direction if you want to, because 1/2 is the same thing as -1 over -2. So instead of going up and over, we can go down and back. Down 1, back 2, down 1, back 2. I said down 1, back 2, down 1, back 2. So now you can see, well, I'm really close. I'm just going to finish it off there. So there's my line. That's how it slopes. And there we go. Now you're going to ask me, do I have to put that many points on the paper? Yada, yada, yada. No, you don't have to put that many points on there, but you should have put at least 3. Moving on, number 3. With this problem here, sometimes people are like, where's the fraction? Well, whole numbers are fractions as well. So this slope of 3 is really 3 over, that's right, 1. 3 over 1. So now we start at a +2. So I'm going to go up 2 on the y-axis, 1, 2. Remember, you got to start on the y-axis. Sometimes people get mixed up and they want to start on the x-axis. No, we're starting on the y-axis, where you always start. And if we think about why that works, well, we can think about putting a number in. So we got x and y. If you put 0 in, this cancels out and you're just left with 2. So 0, 2 is this point right here. Left and right none, but up 2. So it all has to do with putting 0 in for x, and that gives you the y-intercept. So we're starting at 2, and we follow a slope of 3. I said up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. Now since I'm on camera here, there's a lot of pressure. Did I go up 3 over 1? 1, 2, 3. Yep, good. So there's my slope. And I've just graphed the line, up 3 over 1. Flipping to the back page, so we've done, I'm helping you with the odds, and then you can go back and do the evens. So now the directions at the top say solve for y first. So we're going to solve for y first, and then that will reveal the slope and the y-intercept. So number 5 down here, I need to get y by itself. Well, there's an invisible 1 in front there. So I can get y by itself really easily because I only need to do one thing, and that's move this x over. So I'm going to subtract the 2x over. So I get y is equal to negative 2x plus 5. And so I can see the two parts. There's my my slope and my y-intercept. Okay, so for the first time together, we're going to do one that has a negative slope to it. And remember, negative 2 is also a fraction. It's negative 2 over, that's right, 1, negative 2 over 1. So here we go. Starting at 5, on the y-axis, of course, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're just going to follow the slope of negative 2. I said down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. So a couple things we got to keep track of here. Let's go back to the first page. And that is the fact that you read a graph just like you read an English sentence. So we're going from the left to the right. Now as I move across from left to right, the line is going up, right? Therefore, positive slope makes sense. Here, as I move from left to right, the slope goes down. So this is negative slope, so it matches. Also, we want to think about that this is a function. So you could write this as a function, and in function notation, you could write, let's put it over here in this space right here, you could write f of x is equal to negative 2x plus 5. So that would be the same thing as what we just graphed, but we got rid of the y and we put the function notation there. So this would be how you create points on the graph. So if you said f of 3, you would go negative 2 times the 3 plus 5. So that would be, what would that be? Negative 6 plus 5 would be negative 1. So 3, negative 1 should be a point on this graph. And if I go and I look, how about that? Let's check out that point right there. Oops, there we go. Just check out that point right there. And that would be 1, 2, 3, and then down 1. So it makes sense. You put in negative 3, you do the calculate, or put in positive 3, and you do the calculation, you get negative 1. So that point matches here. The other thing I want to mention is when you graph an equation, you're making the solution. You're creating the solution to this algebra problem. The graph is the solution. So before, maybe you had like 8 equals negative 2x plus 5. That was maybe what we solved before, and you'd move the 5 and divide by negative 2 to get your solution. So what we've done is we've gotten rid of the 8, and we just said negative 2x plus 5 could be any number. So instead of it being 8 or 4 or whatever y is, it's just any number, and so I'm graphing every single solution for this equation right here. Okay? And lines are functions, except for a vertical line. That's the only line that's not a function. Okay, let's do the last one together, and that is move the x, divide by 2. So I'm going to add over 4x, because you got to get y by itself. 2y is equal to 4x plus 8, dividing everything by 2. That's easy. Y is equal to 2x plus 4. Again, it's 2 over 1. 2 over 1 is the slope. So I'm starting at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. On my keyboard here a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And down, or no, down, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And for fun, I'm going to go backwards. By doing down and back this way. So down 2, back 1, down 2, back 1. All right. One of the things we're going to look for when we graph parabolas in the next chapter is where it crosses the x-axis and the y-axis. So I'm going to label that where I can as I go through this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0, 4 is where it crosses the y-axis, and negative 2, 0 is where it crosses the x-axis. So those are really critical points on any graph. This crosses at 0, 0, 5, 0, 5. That's the y-intercept. The x-intercept is actually halfway between those. We can talk about how to find that later. And then on this page here, see 3 and 1. So that's going to cross this number 3. It's going to cross kind of a strange place, but this one here we can get that real easy. It's 0, 2 is where it crosses. And the first one, it crosses at 0, negative 2. That's where it crosses the y-axis, and then the x-axis here would be 4, 0. So finding the x-intercepts and the y-intercepts are actually pretty important. All right, so we worked through the first problems here. We graphed y equals mx plus b. The first page, it was in that form, so we just start at 7, follow a slope of negative 3/7. And then on the back side, we had to actually physically solve for y to find the slope and the y-intercept. Okay,